Alrighty, welcome into the Gary Ayd Show here on the Cave, cavetalkradio.com and the Cave Talk Radio app. Great to have you aboard. And, we got a lot to get to today. We're going to have a OC Smash player with us at 4:30. We also are going to have our question of the day. But we start today with an opening rant. Alonso is back, but unfortunately, he's not quite back. He went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts in his debut. Glad I didn't activate him in fantasy yesterday, although I do have him active in my lineup today. Look, this is something that I think is really, really key. It's a small victory, admittedly. It's not a big deal, but it's a big deal. Let me explain. So, I've been a Met fan for a lot of years. At least since 2000 when they made the World Series. Maybe a little bit before that, but basically about since then. So we'll call it 20 years, a little over, 23 years. In that time, there have been untold numbers of guys who suffered what were considered or termed mild injuries, abundance of caution. That sound familiar? Just to be safe. Yeah, you've heard that before, right? And what happened to those guys? Well, Johan Santana basically hardly ever pitched again and was never a good pitcher again after it was just a minor thing. We're being cautious. Yeah, okay. David Wright, oh, yeah, if it was the playoffs, he'd be playing. Never played again. Spinal stenosis. Jed Lowry, oh, he's going to be out the first couple of weeks. We saw like 5 at-bats of Jed Lowry. We've seen this movie before. Jacob deGrom. Matt, what's the guy? Batman. I forget his name now. Matt Harvey. I mean, over and over and over again. The healthiest Met of all time was the guy that weighed 400 pounds, Bartolo Colon. You know why he was healthy? Because he ate cheeseburgers. Eat more cheeseburgers. The heck with the kale. Hell with kale. Eat more cheeseburgers. Eat more cookies. Drink some beer. That's what he did, clearly. And it worked. Vogelbach doesn't get hurt. Let's tell these scientists, these dietitians to stick it already. Like, what good is it? John Daly's always able to play whenever he wants to play. Oliver Miller had a 10-plus year career. Come on now. What are we talking about? But all kidding aside, how many times have we seen a big player, an important player, a franchise-defining player go down with what was called a minor injury only to basically never play again or never be good again? I just rattle off how many examples, like just off the top of my head. If you're a real Met fan and you've been a fan for any length of time, there's no way that you didn't at least have it run through your mind. Oh boy, I hope this doesn't change Alonso's season at the best. There's no way you didn't think that. I know I thought that. So to have him come back, even though he went 0 for 3. Now, if that continues, you're going to say, well, he's never been the same again. But I don't think that's going to happen. What I'm getting at here is having him back in essentially the timetable or faster than he was projected to be back is a very stark deviation from traditional Mets history that's very welcomed. And I'm happy to see. And this guy has been the picture of consistency, durability, and stability since he's come up. So given his personal history, this isn't all too surprising. Given the franchise's history, it's a total welcome shock. And I, for one, have never been happier to see a batter go 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts than I was last night, Rich. I was elated just to see he played the whole game.
You were just thrilled that he was back on the field.
That's all I cared about. Now, at some point, he has to hit like himself again, but he probably will.
I think he will.
So, but I was just happy to see him there because I was thinking, oh boy, here we go. Another one of these. Like the last time the Mets had a face of the team type of player that wasn't constantly injured or underperforming was honestly probably Carlos Beltran. And I know people love to hate on Beltran, but he was a very consistent player for this team. Now, he had his injury problems, but when he played very well. And he wasn't like, this wasn't like Zion Williamson injury problems. You know, like he was out there more than he wasn't. But Mike Piazza was probably the other one. You're talking 15 to 20, 25 years ago at this point. You know what I mean? Between those two guys.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. And Pete Alonso, like I've said before, is unquestionably on track to be one of the 2 or 3 most accomplished and significant Met position players in franchise history, assuming they retain him when his contract is up, which I'd be shocked if they didn't. This guy is the real thing. So to have him back last night, even though he didn't perform well, I mean, if you're a Met fan, that had to make you happy.
Oh, yeah. It absolutely had to. Just to have him in the lineup is an advantage to every other hitter. Because you can't just ignore the fact that he's there.
Right. That's right.
And it opened other people up, and look at the performance last night.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's exactly right.
Speaking of performances, what's your take on Scherzer?
That was nice to see.
He needed that.
Oh, didn't he ever? We all did. That was so important. I've been getting to the point of writing him off. And it was nice to see. What was his final stat line?
I know he went 8 for the first time all year. And
yeah, that's true.
He had a mess of strikeouts.
That's tremendous.
They need, and they're going to need Verlander tonight to go a long way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Mets they bludgeoned the Astros last night. I mean, you're talking, this is probably the most impressive Met win of the year. And, you talk about the performance that Max put forward and needing that. How about Francisco Lindor needing a big night, coming up with 2 big hits, 5 RBIs.
5 ribbies. Yeah, that was nice.
Had the home run in the 3rd inning off of Brown. His 14th of the year. I mean, now the thing about Lindor, he does have a lot of RBIs. He has 50 now, which is a lot of RBIs.
Yeah.
I'm sorry though. I know everyone doesn't care about it anymore, but I do. That batting average is just not good enough. 216 is not good. That needs to be at least 50 points higher to even be respectable. But Alonso had the 1 hit, so he wasn't 0 for 4. He was 1 for 4, excuse me. He had the 1 hit. He walked once. So it was good to see.
Hey, if he can take you up to 270 or 250, that's good.
Yes. Yep, exactly. But
you don't need him at his Cleveland numbers. You need him at 250 driving in 100+ runs.
Yeah, I'd like to see him more in like the 275, 280 range.
See, I think you're asking a lot.
I would. I mean, at this stage of the season, given how bad he's been to this point, he probably can't get there. But that's what I want to see going forward. Because, I mean, 275 is not a great batting average. It's a solid batting average. It's a good batting average by today's standards. It's not a great batting average. I'd like to see him hit closer to 270, 280. But the power numbers are there. 14 home runs now, 50 RBIs. Probably on pace to have about 120 RBIs and about 30 home runs, maybe a little less, 27, 28 home runs. That's good enough. But
that wouldn't bother me if he only hit 250.
But the problem I have with him right now is that for every at-bat and every game that has RBIs or home runs associated with it, there's 4 at-bats that are not productive. That's the problem with low batting average guys. That's why batting average is still an important statistic and not just on base percentage. Because getting on base doesn't really mean anything if no one behind you has a high enough batting average to make contact often enough to drive you in. So batting average matters. If you want to tell me it's more important that the leadoff hitter has a high on base percentage than the batting average, I can get with that. I understand where that makes sense. But you talk about a guy who's hitting third, fourth, fifth in my lineup, I need a guy who's hitting in the high 200s to mid 300s. Like, because if the guys in front of him are going to be high on base guys and they can get on base, if no one's there to drive him home, you're not going to walk runs home on a regular basis. Pitchers are way too good for that. So you have to get hits, and hits mean batting average. And if your batting average stinks, it's usually because you're striking out all the time, which Lindor does. And strikeouts are guaranteed to do nothing. So
if he gets over 100 RBI, then he is driving people.
Right, but how many is he leaving on the table? Like,
you don't have as many 300 hitters as you used to.
Well, I'm not even talking about hitting 300, though. I'm talking about hitting 280, 275.
And you don't have many of those either.
Well, that's the problem, and that's my point. And the reason we don't have them is because no one, the value system of the sport, what gets you paid, doesn't emphasize that. And that's exactly what I'm, I guess, ranting about. It doesn't make logical sense, because it makes sense to have your 1 and 2 hitters be high on base guys, right? Because you want to get guys on base to start the inning. That makes total sense. I get it. But if you're not going to walk them home, which you're not going to often, how are you going to get them home? People have to hit the ball. And a high batting average means you hit the ball where people aren't more often than someone who has a lower batting average. That's, in stupid people language, that's what that means. Right? So, in like, what was that? Batting average for dummies. There, I just wrote a book in the franchise. There you go. Like, that's what we're talking about. And you need that. Like, Jeff McNeil was the best player on the Mets for a chunk of last year. Why? Because every time he came to the batter's box, not only did the pitcher know he had to throw strikes, but he knew he had to throw good strikes because Lindor was up there swinging, trying to put the ball in play and make contact. You don't think that stresses out a pitcher? Of course it does. You know, if I'm a pitcher, okay, a guy has a high on base percentage, but he's up there trying to draw a walk. So I'm either going to strike him out or I'm going to walk him. Whatever. I'll get the next guy if I walk him. Like, a guy like that doesn't worry me. A high on base percentage guy who doesn't have a high batting average is not stressful to a pitcher. Even a high on base guy with big power numbers with a low batting average, it's still not that stressful for a pitcher, because most of those guys, if you have a high power numbers, think like a Dave Kingman type, basically you're hitting mistakes. So if I'm a pitcher and I just make okay pitches, I'm not really worried about you. You're not going to hit a decent pitch anywhere. You're going to strike out, or you're going to walk if I nibble and miss. The only way you're going to hurt me is if I make a mistake. And
how many pitchers don't make mistakes?
Well, everyone makes mistakes, but
I mean, how many don't make a good number of them? Because there are a lot that make many mistakes.
But those type of guys don't stress you out if you're a pitcher, because you might make a lot of mistakes, but you're not worrying about making mistakes if you're a pitcher. That takes a certain type of arrogance and confidence to even get to this level. But when you're facing a guy who hits close to 300 or better and has power, now all of a sudden you're thinking, well, he can hit any pitch I throw, so I have to be really careful. And that's when you're more likely to make mistakes. I just think batting average, guys who have high batting averages regularly put pressure on pitchers because they're up there trying to do damage. And generally, guys with high batting averages are capable of hitting good pitches. Guys with low batting averages are usually up there trying to walk, or B, if they're swinging for the fences, which means they're going to get out a lot more than they're going to make contact, and they're not going to go up there and hit a good pitch. So I'd rather face a lineup full of those guys. Why do you think the Astros are harder to deal with in the playoffs than the Yankees? Because Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, all of these guys over the years, Correa until recently, they're all up there hacking. They're trying to do damage, whereas the Yankees are trying to walk and get on base. Well, at some point, someone has to drive him in. And if Aaron Judge doesn't hit a home run, who's doing that?
Right.
And all that to say, I need more from Francisco Lindor in that
And
department.
it rhymes.
It does. I'm rhyming. I'm not even trying. See? Look at that. I think that's a good time to take a break. What do you say?
It sounds good to me.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll do the question of the day. Next is the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Coffee lovers, Middletown is now officially home to the home run of our favorite beverage, Days Coffee. Days' patented blend contains approximately 85% less caffeine than other coffees, which makes it better for you, yet unlike decaf coffee, still gives you that great pickup and tastes amazing. Formulated by a retired cancer pathologist, Dr. Grant Lee, Days Coffee is fermented with a patented enzyme that until now required a complex and thus expensive sourcing and production process. With Dr. Lee's formulation, this enzyme's great health benefits can now be brought to your cup quicker, easier, and cheaper than ever before. Here's how you get a hold of this game-changing cup of joe. Go over to radioonlydeals.com and get a $4 gift certificate to Days Coffee for just $2. That's radioonlydeals.com to buy your single-use digital gift certificate for Days Coffee. Radioonlydeals.com. That's radioonlydeals.com. Enjoy the preferred coffee of the Gary Ayd Show. Enjoy Days Coffee.
A small city in France is about to get smart. I am KO, back in 1 minute with your sports question of the day.
If you have diabetes and you're on Medicare, you may qualify for a free continuous glucose monitor system. Managing your diabetes is crucial to your health. The new CGM systems can automatically manage your diabetes better for you. And by using a CGM system, you can eliminate forever one thing most people with diabetes hate the most: finger sticks. Now it's possible to manage your diabetes better, end the painful finger sticks, and get a new CGM monitoring system at little or no cost to you. We even provide in-home delivery and do all the insurance paperwork for you. Now is the best time to manage your diabetes better and get your continuous glucose monitor. Call now for details. Call 800-438-1391, 800-438-1391. 800-438-1391. That's 800-438-1391.
Chartres, a small city in France, is about to become the first smart sports city thanks to a new collaboration between automated video production company Pixelot and French Telecommunications. Pixelot will transform the sports experience in Chartres with 8 camera installations and 4 mobile camera units. The extensive coverage will highlight the city's local sports, boosting the visibility of its soccer, basketball, handball, and rugby teams. Question: which small market U.S. sports destination would you be most inclined to turn into a smart sports city? Durham, Worcester, or Santa Cruz?
You know, I've actually looked at this Pixelot, and they have like another sister company that's more designed for like broadcast streaming. I forget the name of it, like sports something or other, sports cam or something. Anyway, I've looked into this, and it's a very impressive technology, and I think it actually has a lot of use cases. It's very good at following the action. It's great for scouting and for film departments that are maybe cutting highlight tapes or coaches film or whatever. It allows a lot of that to happen sort of in the background, so you don't have to assign a staffer to do that, which is really cool. I don't know that I fully understand what the city is getting from it. Like, I don't understand this use case here.
I didn't either. I had no idea.
Like,
I don't know enough about this to give that an answer.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's using it, if it just means that every sports team, I think it probably just means every sports team within that city now has a contract with that company to use their products. That's what I'm guessing. And if that's the answer, if that's indeed the case, I'm going to go forward with the presumption that that's what this question is inferring. Assuming that's the case, um, then I would say Santa Cruz would make a very good city for this because, I mean, depending on where you play or practice, the background imaging or the B-roll, as we call it in the media business, would likely be very impressive in a place like that.
And you're also around a lot of technology in that area.
Yeah, that's true too. Yep, that's very true. So I think that would probably be the place to do it. The other approach to this would be if I was a city that maybe was not a destination per se, and I wanted to use this as sort of a differentiator for recruiting purposes. Take a Columbus, Ohio, or a Pittsburgh type of city, for example, Memphis, Salt Lake City, those type of places. Um, Good sports cities, but not destinations. I could see this being for the lower levels, for the middle levels, the guys who have some talent but are still not where they want to be. The type of extra intelligence this could provide you, and the extra monetary efficiencies it could provide if you are a mid-level manager in, say, an AHL or a double A organization or a G League organization. This could make you look really smart and efficient and
Right.
fast, which is a lot of times what will get you promoted to the next level. So I could see this being very valuable to people in those markets too.
That is interesting. That definitely could be the case.
I mean, because if all of a sudden I don't have to have a camera guy, the guy that was my camera guy now is doing something else. He's editing the film in real time, and we have it posted at the end of practice, ready for the next day's for the coaches to look at it after practice. So now instead of looking at the film that night, we're looking at it 10 minutes after the players leave because my guy who would normally film it is all of a sudden editing it and uploading it or whatever it is as it's being done. Now all of a sudden, if I'm like a executive, if I'm a staffing firm who might be looking for a front office guy for a major league club, and I happen to do my due diligence and I see, man, these guys get their coaches get their film analyzed so quickly. Why? Oh, we have it right away. Well, why is that? Oh, because this guy's really efficient. That makes the film guy look really good. You know, that's another use for this.
That's true.
So I think that would be maybe more so than the cities listed. I might go into one of those other cities that is a good sports city, but maybe not a destination where you're likely to find quality talent, and then try to use this to maybe give that talent a sort of a competitive edge. That's something I think would be interesting. So, all right, well, let's take a break. We'll come back. We got our OC Smash Player of the Week coming up next. This is the Gary Ayd Show. Back after this here on The Cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number, 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
All righty, welcome back to the Gary Ayd Show here on the Cave, and we are joined now by Andrew D'Ambrosio of the 12U squad for the OC Smash. Hello, Andrew. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for joining us. So let me ask you this. Let's start here. How long have you been playing baseball for?
I started in third grade. Well, in kindergarten when I played Little League, but then it kind of got to kid pitch in third grade, and that's when I started.
Wow, awesome. Now, how long have you been playing with the Smash?
This is my second year with them.
Your second year. Okay, very good. And what positions do you play?
I play second base, anywhere in the outfield, and I pitch.
Awesome. Very, very cool. What's your favorite of those positions?
I like second base the most. I'm the pitcher. I like the pitcher because I get the ball every play.
Of course. Who wouldn't like that? What do you like so much about second base?
I like how you're involved a lot. Like you're always moving for every ball that's hit.
Yep, that makes sense. What about what got you started with baseball initially? What was it? Do you have older brothers? Did your dad play? Like, did you have friends on the block you grew up on? Like, what got you interested in baseball in the first place?
I started off like playing just like every sport, and baseball was the one that I liked the most, and then I wanted to continue it.
So baseball is the only sport you play now, basically.
I still play football and basketball, but not as much.
Not as much. And are you a lefty or a righty?
I'm a righty.
You're a righty. Very cool. Now, before joining the Smash, where were you playing?
Just Little League.
Little League. Cool. Very good. What's the biggest difference between Little League and playing with the Smash to you?
I think that the pitchers throw a lot harder.
With the Smash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Has there been a place you've traveled to that's been like your favorite place to go and play?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago we went to Ripken in Aberdeen, Maryland for a baseball tournament, and it was a lot of fun, and the fields are really nice, and it was really fun.
That's awesome. That's really cool. What do you enjoy most about this sport? Do you like hitting? Do you like pitching, fielding? Like, what's your favorite part of the actual play of the game?
I'd say I like all of it, but hitting is fun because, like everything is around you, and I just love like barreling a baseball up, and the feeling is really good.
Yeah, that's always a great feeling. And the sound it makes too is always fun, right? You could almost tell from the sound of the bat how well you hit it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you guys use aluminum bats or wooden bats in this with the Smash?
We use aluminum bats.
You use aluminum bats. That's what I thought. I wasn't sure. What's the part of the game that is maybe the hardest for you that you spend the most time practicing, and which part comes the most naturally to you?
I think fielding and pitching I have to practice the most on, because I didn't really know anything about it, and it's kind of hard to just like practice in the backyard. But with hitting, just like playing wiffle ball, that kind of goes to the field more.
Okay, there you go. What's your who's your favorite major league player?
Probably DJ LeMahieu because I like how he just tries to get singles and doubles and doesn't really try and hit home runs.
Yeah, he's trying to put the bat on the ball and make contact every time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite players too, as a matter of fact. And what's if you were to pick like one like baseball memory, like a game or a play or something, what's been your most enjoyable or favorite baseball memory so far?
Probably the district championship when we were playing Washingtonville and we came back from down 6 runs. I had an RBI in that game, and it was just a lot of fun.
So you came back from 6 runs down. How late in the game was it before you guys started to come back?
It was like the 3rd inning. I think it was like the bottom of the 3rd.
That's cool. And you guys play what, 7 innings, is it?
6.
6, okay. So you start coming back from 6-0 down in the 3rd. And when did you guys finally take the lead?
I think it was in the 5th inning. We had like a big rally in the 5th inning, and we took the lead. I think we ended up winning by about 3 points.
Oh, that must have been so much fun. Was that were you guys on the road somewhere?
We were in Pine Bush.
Oh, you're in Pine Bush. Okay, so pretty local. Was the bus ride home like a lot of fun? Was the car ride home like a lot of fun?
Yeah. We went to a restaurant after to celebrate.
Yeah, that's so cool. Comebacks are always so much fun. Last question for you. What do you think is the part about baseball what makes baseball your favorite sport? That's what I'm trying to ask you. Why baseball?
Probably because it takes a lot of focus and you need to always be ready.
That makes sense. Cool. Well, when's your next tournament? Are you playing this weekend?
Yeah, we have 2 doubleheaders this weekend.
Awesome. Well, hey, enjoy them. Try to get some wins and have some fun. Thanks, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All righty. There you go. That is Andrew Ambrosio. This is the Gary Ayd Show. Back after this here on The Cave.
Do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call. Because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at crazy low prices. They have access to great prices and discounts at over 500 different airlines. Plus 300,000 hotels and rental car companies. Their prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find the best price for you. Call SmartFares today and get ready to see the world with a fat wallet.
800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. That's 800-370-2460.
Come on, you watch the news. Be prepared to pay more taxes. Then if you owe back taxes or haven't filed in a few years, get ready. The IRS, the largest collection agency in the world, will be coming after you with the power to collect taxes by any means they want to. Hey, they can freeze your bank account, your passport, even padlock your business. Oh, good times. Look, if the IRS claims you owe them $5,000 or more in back taxes and they're coming after you, don't panic. Call my friends at Get a Tax Lawyer first. Their job is to negotiate with the IRS and save you money. They're experts at it. That's all they do, and you can trust them. In some cases, they have reduced a $50,000 tax bill to less than $1,000. If you owe the IRS $5,000 or more in back taxes, call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. That's 800-649-8617.
All righty, we're back here on the Gary Ayd Show. Gary Ayd, Rich Anselmo, and there's been a little more talk around the future here of Chris Paul, which we talked about a little bit yesterday. More talk of buyouts. Clippers and Lakers seem to be near the top of the list. How much does he have left in the tank?
I don't personally think he has a lot. He hasn't been able to stay healthy for a few years now. If you're counting on him, if you're the Clippers and you're counting on him, you'd be better off re-signing Russell Westbrook. Played well. If you're the Lakers, that could only be something orchestrated by LeBron. And I would hope that he knows better than that. What say you?
I think he's got a decent amount in the tank for the right role. And that role to me is one of an efficient secondary playmaker off of a bench of a title team.
He's not coming off the bench.
Oh, I know that. So to the extent that he's not willing to do that, I wouldn't want him. Now, if he could be a guy that played, let's say, 25 minutes a night, and let's take the Lakers as an example. Play every minute that LeBron doesn't play. Maybe a few minutes together, but he plays mostly with LeBron on the bench. And he is the facilitator of that second unit and has a little bit of scoring punch with those mid-range pull-ups he has. That would be a role I think he would do very well in. If he's going to win a ring, it's going to be very much the Gary Payton story, not the Dirk Nowitzki story. He's not winning a ring as a key member of any, quote, big three or big four or whatever you want to say. He's a role player, a very good role player at this point, but he's a role player.
If he goes to the Clippers, you won't have to worry about it. If he goes to the Lakers, I think LeBron, one way or another, will push him for him to start, especially considering how he couldn't stand D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, well, D'Angelo Russell was a problem.
LeBron has a circle of trust, and he doesn't really stray far from it. That could be good or bad. It's normally more good. But I think with Chris Paul, and you're also talking about a smaller guy.
Yes.
He's a 6-foot guard.
Yeah, it's amazing he's played this effectively this long already. Very few 6-foot or thereabouts guards. I'm talking guys from 5'11" to about 6'2", right around that range. Very few of them play much more than about 12, 13 years at a high level, I mean.
But in the last 3 years, how effective has he really been?
No, it's fair. Not very. Yeah, I've seen a few Knicks fans clamor for him. How could you possibly play him and Jalen Brunson together? I mean, you and I could score in that backcourt.
5 years ago, I would clamor for him. Not now.
No, and you know what? Even the current version of Chris Paul, if the Knicks didn't have Jalen Brunson, if they had a regular size 2 guard, a 6'6", 6'7" 2 guard, and a mediocre point guard, then yeah, I could see it. But the truth is, you have to pair him at the very minimum, whoever he signs with. He has to be paired with a backcourt mate that is of the sizable, defensively versatile variety. He has to be. You can't pair him with another 6 foot something, 6'1", 6'2" or so guard. You can't do that.
Then it makes more sense with the Clippers, who has Paul George at 6'6.5".
Yeah, it makes a little more sense.
than with the Lakers, who have Austin Reeves at just about 6'4".
Right.
And it makes no sense for the Knicks at all.
It really doesn't make any sense.
I still say his best spot is the Spurs. I've said that all along. You have a few decent young players on that team.
Yep.
And you're bringing in what can hopefully be a generational player. A veteran like that could do a lot. I don't know. Do you have any other ideas for it?
I mean,
I don't see him going to Miami. If that's the case, I'd bring back Lowry for another year. They're about the same player right now.
Yeah.
Except Kyle Lowry's still better defensively.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably a better shooter. I think the other places that I could see him really being an asset are places
Detroit.
He's not going to go. I really think he would be a nice piece to a young team that's not where it wants to be yet, but has a few pieces in place that needs something stable that they can put in the lineup every night. Like, think like the role that 8 or so years ago. Think of the role that Vince Carter played on those upstart Hawks. And how he was able, was it the Hawks? Yeah. Like, he was a starter or a first or second guy off the bench, played meaningful minutes. He wasn't a star anymore, but he
played about 25 minutes.
Exactly. That wasn't a team that was ready to win a title or was going to compete for a title, but it was a team in large part because of Carter's stability and production mixed with leadership, was able to go from a afterthought bottom of the conference playoff team to a reasonably competitive team that won a lot of regular season games and was a factor in the playoffs. I think Chris Paul could have a similar effect if he would allow himself to go to a team that's at that stage. So I'm thinking a team like Utah is a good example. He would help Utah a lot. They have some young pieces. They can score. They need a little veteran leadership. They have no one to kind of lead that group. Chris Paul is not the defender he used to be, but he's still a reasonably quick-handed ball hawk. He can create some turnovers. There is, to me, that would be a team that would benefit from him heavily. And those are the type of teams I could see him. Another example of a team like that might be a team like a healthy Indiana. Or even if Washington were to keep Kuzma and Porzingis, even where he is. But the true title contending teams, like you said, Miami doesn't need him. Boston doesn't need him. Philly, maybe he could fit Philly, especially if they lose Harden. They might need a ball handler. That's a possibility. Doesn't fit Milwaukee. Doesn't fit the Knicks. The Nets could be an interesting team.
Doesn't fit Cleveland.
The Nets could be an interesting team. They have some young pieces. They don't have any veteran leadership.
We could talk about these teams all we want, but his family lives in LA.
Right.
You're really narrowing it down.
Is he willing to be a bench guy to play with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and the Warriors in his home state?
I don't know.
Because that might be, if he's going to concede to being a bench guy, maybe that's the place he's willing to do it because of the proximity to his family you were just talking about. And now he's on a team that's still reasonably considered competitive.
And they also, you can use teas, as we like to say. And they also are serious about re-signing Draymond Green. I don't know why. I don't know how that'll work. But they're serious about it.
What about Sacramento? They don't have a great bench.
Do you bring him in at the expense of Davion Mitchell, who's learning to play that position?
Yeah, that's a good question. Probably not. So there you go. All right. Well, let's take our last break. We'll come back. We'll do that news you can use. That's next. The Gary Ayd Show here on the Cave.
Coffee Lovers Middletown is now officially home to the home run of our favorite beverage, Days Coffee. Days patented blend contains approximately 85% less caffeine than other coffees, which makes it better for you, yet unlike decaf coffee, still gives you that great pickup and tastes amazing. Formulated by a retired cancer pathologist, Dr. Grant Lee, Days Coffee is fermented with a patented enzyme that until now required a complex and thus expensive sourcing and production process. With Dr. Lee's formulation, this enzyme's great health benefits can now be brought to your cup quicker, easier, and cheaper than ever before. Here's how you get a hold of this game-changing cup of joe. Go over to radioonlydeals.com and get a $4 gift certificate to Days Coffee for just $2. That's radioonlydeals.com to buy your single-use digital gift certificate for Days Coffee. Radioonlydeals.com. That's radioonlydeals.com. Enjoy the preferred coffee of the Gary Ayd Show. Enjoy Days Coffee.
All right. What do we got today, Rich? What's news you can use?
Something interesting. What a mess this the Summer Olympics for 2024 in Paris are becoming. Just when you think they couldn't hit a new low, they went there. Investigators searched the organizers' headquarters as part of an ongoing corruption probe into some contracts given out for the Olympics. They say they're cooperating fully, but
wouldn't probing for corruption into the Olympics be a lot like digging for feces inside a sewer?
Pretty much.
Like, isn't it just layer after layer of corruption? Isn't that? I thought that's what the Olympics were, was just the corruption capital of the sports world.
Well, it's funny because there's an IOC executive board meeting going on in Switzerland where they were discussing Paris when the raids hit. So it's like, sometimes timing just works your way. And then the opening ceremony they had planned, which was this ridiculously elaborate parade going down the Seine River, or by the Seine River, has so many logistical and security challenges. It's putting another $9.5 billion into the budget.
Hey, at least this time around, we're going to be allowed to sell beer.
You're going to have to need it to see what prices they charge to get into some of these things.
It won't be Bud Light, though. Modelo now, baby. I was shocked when I read that's now the number one selling beer in America. That's what took over Bud Light's spot.
Yeah, guess who distributes Modelo?
Well, it's the same people. I know that. It's
right.
Anheuser-Busch. But I was just surprised.
People can't even get a protest for us.
Well, I mean, it's very hard to know who, because there's such conglomerates that if you trace any brand up to the top level,
a little research can.
I mean, it's just I get it. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I'm personally well satisfied with the fact that this protest has had an impact, if for no other reason than it demonstrates that we, the people, still have some say in the matter if we choose to exert it. That's basically, faulty as the logic may be or incomplete as it may be. The fact of the matter is, taking a quarter chunk out of the biggest brand in the portfolio of AB is no small thing. And I was just surprised that Modelo was the heir apparent.
And giving it to another brand in the AB portfolio.
Well, I mean, but it didn't go.
It's laughable.
But it wasn't linear. It's not like 25% went from Bud Light and all 25% went to Modelo. It's not. It wasn't just a left hand to right hand exchange. But my point for bringing that up was that I'm surprised if you were giving me 7 guesses, what's the new number one selling beer in America? Modelo wouldn't have been one of my 7 guesses. That's what I was getting at.
Really?
Oh no, I would have guessed Miller, Coors, Corona, Blue Moon, Boston Lager. I would have guessed at least those 5 before I would have thought of Modelo.
I love Blue Moon. It's also an Anheuser-Busch product.
Well, yeah, I understand that. Well, and this is the challenge. Is there's these companies see such.
And I'm not boycotting Anheuser-Busch because when I want a beer, I know many times I want a Blue Moon.
Yeah, see, I don't have to boycott them either because I haven't bought a non-local beer in many, many, many years. I'm a craft beer guy through and through. The only occasional exception to that is Sam Adams and Yingling. That would have been another one I would have guessed. Would have been Yingling before I would have guessed Modelo.
That has grown.
I like Yingling a lot. I always did.
I would have picked Corona as the
Yep, that might have been one.
the next one.
Yeah, so there's 7 right there. That
Over Modelo.
I just was surprised when said really Modelo. But you know what though? This is what's interesting about that. I was talking to a friend about this. So Bud Light, we know the story behind that, and the advertising that that spawned it. Modelo for many years now has been running very traditional values laced ads of bootstraps, legal immigrants starting from nothing, making something of yourself, that real old school, like, do it yourself mentality. And that resonates with beer drinkers. It just does. That's what got Bud Light to where they were. It's exactly that type of messaging. It's the exact same type of messaging. So I guess in that respect, it's not a big surprise because their marketing has been spot on for what beer drinkers generally respond to. That messaging might not work as well for L'Oreal hair products, right?
Right.
But it works beautifully for beer.
Well, the company Modelo was grown out of has always been a very tradition.
Yes. And until they sold to
And-
InBev, AB was that also.
And I'll tell you what, I prefer Modelo as a beer to Corona.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never really had Modelo very much.
I've had a few different beers from them, and I haven't had one I haven't liked. I know you're a craft guy, craft, not crap. I know, I get it.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But
I'm paraphrasing.
I understand.
Well, now that this segment's been derailed, I'll leave it off with this.
What do we got?
The Brian Windhorst podcast. Tim McMahon from ESPN is on talking about hearing indirectly that Ja and people close to Ja have this feeling that the NBA is out to get them and the media is out to get them.
Oh, please.
You know something? You can't dispute what you did. You issued an apology. It was crap, not craft. I mean, that was one of the most unbelievable things I ever. And I've heard some of the best liars in the business.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Just step back, please. That's all I ask. Oh, and Kyle Kuzma officially did decline his option.
I saw that.
He's becoming a free agent. Gary Trent Jr. signed his option to stay with the Raptors for another year.
Okay. There you go. Good stuff. Moving and shaking. Mets continue on their series with Houston tonight. Justin Verlander on the hill. Big game here. I'll tell you what, beating up Houston 11-1, but then losing to the Cardinals the night before, who were one of the worst teams in the National League. That is very Mets-like.
Didn't a bottom feeder just sweep Houston before that? The Astros do not look right.
No, they don't look right. That's very true. Earlier in the year when they got off to that bad start, it was easy to say, well, Altuve's out. But now he's been back for a while. He's actually playing relatively well. And that's true. They don't look right. That's something to keep an eye on as we go out through the rest of the season.
Oh, and I did have one more thing that I wanted to fit in.
What's that?
Max Verstappen won the Canadian Grand Prix this weekend. A very cool race. He had a dead bird stuck in his brake duct.
Uh-oh. Did Randy Johnson put it there?
Maybe. It was in Canada. But winning the race with that thing flapping around in there is pretty impressive.
That is pretty impressive. I'm a fan. Alrighty, well, there you go. Good stuff. We will be back tomorrow, and we will see you then. This is the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.